Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where today we're getting a chance to take a look at a newly, freshly updated version of Specialized Sirrus X 2.0. The Sirrus X is their do-all hybrid bike with some gravel intentions, and while the frame has not changed for 2026, the components have, and it makes for a meaningful upgrade. So in this video, we're going to go into those features and designs of this 2026 Specialized Sirrus X 2.0, as well as we'll end it with exactly what it weighs. Starting off with the Specialized Sirrus X. What the Specialized Sirrus X is their do-all hybrid with some gravel intentions. Now, in Specialized lineup, they have two flavors of their Sirrus hybrid. They have the Sirrus, which in that version of the bike, it has largely the same frame and setup, but it runs much narrower tires, whereas on the Sirrus X, it rocks these wider Pathfinder tires, which are more of a gravel style that you would expect to see on, say, their Diverge gravel lineup. And they put that together with this kind of neutral to slightly upright body position to make a bike that's designed for somebody who's going out and having an active ride or wanting to be able to commute. And that's where this bike will shine really well, is it's just a really well-rounded tool. Think an SUV, a BMW X3 of sorts that can go a little off-road, but is really focused about being great on the road and handling rough roads where you might, say, not want a sports car or something like that. And to make this all happen, the Sirrus X 2.0, which is the second in the lineup, runs their A1 butted aluminum frame, which means this is a butted tubing framed bike. It does have some manipulated shapes as well. Butting means that there's thick and thin spots. So usually, say, like on this top tube, it'll be a little thicker down near the welds and get progressively thinner through the center and then thick again. And they'll do that to be able to tune ride quality, reduce a little bit of weight, and just overall make the bike ride nicer than, say, a cheaper brand which would just have a continuous thickness tubing aluminum frame. Now, on the Sirrus X 2.0, it is rocking the steel fork. So up front, this is made out of steel. As you go up in the lineup, I believe once you get to the 3.0, that does change away from steel. But on the 2.0 and the 1.0, it's a steel fork. It does have mounts for fenders or a front small rack if you wanted to run that, and then a quick release 700C wheel. As we go back on this frame, you'll notice, of course, internal cable routing. So all these wires are going straight into the frame, which is nice because you don't really have to worry about it getting caught on car racks or, say, on the bike rack that you'll mount it up to when you're at work. But the frame has a triplicate mount on the down tube for either two positions of your water bottles, or you could put a bottle up here and a mount for a tool down below. And then, of course, on the down tube, you've got a water bottle mount as well. And then as we go to the back of this bike, it becomes even more utilitarian with rack mounts, with fender mounts. And then, of course, my favorite, it's got a cafe lock mount if you wanted one of those locks that kind of wraps around the wheel. So while you're in the cafe, you don't have to worry about the bike just riding away on you. Now, this being the 2.0, it does feature a much improved drivetrain over the 1.0 and even the 2025 model. And for that, we've got Shimano's CUES system. So the Shimano CUES rear derailleur comes largely from their mountain bike lineup, but CUES is now kind of an all-road and all-use situation where they have the same level and different types of derailleurs inside of it. And what this allows for is, compared to the prior generation, you have a much wider range rear shifting, and that's going through this 11 to 46 tooth 9-speed rear cassette. And where in the prior generation they were using some micro shift drivetrain parts, which were definitely fine and worked, it's nice to have Shimano CUES, which is a much better, more rugged system and new for 2025, which is kind of why we're seeing it trickle into 2026 bikes. And now up front, we do have a 1x drivetrain, which means a single ring up front, so no need to think about shifting up front. No problems there, because when we look at the handlebar, we've got this super clean setup. So we've got an alloy 31.8 handlebar, an aluminum stem, And then this bar goes across, where we then have Specialized own body geometry grips. These are an interesting grip design because when you take a look at it, unlike, say, a traditional ergo grip where you see this loop come out, what they're doing is they're adding a bump to fill in that gap in your hand. So it's a nice firm feel as you hold on to the bike. You do have some hydraulic Pro Max disc brakes, which are 160 millimeter rotors on the front and the rear. And then for shifting, we have the 9-speed Shimano CUES system. So if I press this thumb button, it's going to bring us to an easier gear or a lower number. And then we've got an index finger that'll allow us to go back up to harder gear. So all your shifting's done on one side, which then also means on the left-hand side, that's right, we've got this nice clean handlebar, nothing really to get hung up on. And I just love the way that a nice, clean, and simple hybrid bike like this looks. It really kind of is one of those looks where it's trying to just egg you on to go take the bike out of your house, out of your garage, and get on the road. Use it to go to work, use it to go have some fun, and all those great things. Well, now that we've taken a look at this aluminum do-all hybrid bike from Specialized, I think it's time we find out what this bike comes in weighs. And the actual weight of the Sirrus X 2.0 in a size medium comes in and weighs 26.7 pounds. Thanks for joining me to check out the 2026 Specialized Sirrus X 2.0. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on how this bike has changed, whether that drivetrain upgrade makes a big difference in your mind, or where you'd like to go if it's not on a Sirrus X 2.0.